Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show. Happy Tuesday. Hello, Polly.
All I know looks like I'm falling off my chair, but I'm really not. I have this little thing I put my feet on that's kind of moving around.
Uh-oh, don't
So
fall. Don't fall. But you know, a fall might bring some viewers. So maybe,
that's true. It could
you
if I brought the camera down with me, so everybody can see me rolling around on the floor.
Oh yeah, we like that. That's good. That's good. Good to see you with your little high pony. You have a high pony.
I do. I don't have my hat on right now.
Oh, I love a high
Right?
pony.
This is
We
like
love a
my
high
hat.
pony. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. What's going on in Arizona there, Miss Wiley?
Well, it's cooled down a little bit. It's kind of nice, and yeah, I'll share a little story. So you guys hear me, I talk about my little sanctuary because I love the land that our house is on and the bunnies and the lovebirds. And so I'm like, I water my cactuses and I think it's so cool. I get to look outside my window while I'm working and see the little creatures. And and like sometimes like the little bunnies rest underneath the cactus. They take naps there and it's just like so sweet. So I enjoyed that. And the other day I was like looking out and there was a big roadrunner in the cactus garden. I was like, oh, well, they don't come around very often. And then I looked a little closer. The the roadrunner had a baby bird in his mouth, and the feet were like hanging out of the roadrunner's mouth. And then I just watched a little bit of a nature show go down. But it was like, you know what? I have this amazing sanctuary, but it was just like a reminder of what your personal amazing sanctuary, other things come into it, right? And then how do you react to it? And the roadrunner was just doing what a roadrunner does, but it was kind of interesting.
So roadrunners eat birds.
They eat the baby birds, yeah, and
Wow.
I have
Wow.
like two little quail families right now, and I was like, oh God, hopefully not the quail, but I think it was a I think it was a baby bird that fell out of a cactus nest.
Oh my
Anyhow, who
goodness.
knows? But
Wow.
it was a reminder because look at we all have sanctuaries, right? We all create, or we should all create these places of peace, and where we just feel nurtured and we're nurturing, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
all do that, but even in those places of nurture, you know, you still some surprises can occur.
For sure, for sure. I love it. The whole time I was listening to you about that story, I kept thinking of beep 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 beep
Yeah.
beep. The Roadrunner. The
It
Roadrunner.
had that attitude that day that it ate the little baby bird. I will share with you that. It definitely had that roadrunner attitude.
For sure. Beep 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 beep. Leave.
But
Yeah. No, sanctuary is important to my. Listen, my home is my sanctuary. I've created it exactly how I want it, and I think that you're right. And then yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, no matter what, it's happening, and then life happens and comes into your sanctuary. I think that's a good kind of analogy for life. You build your life, and you create your thing, and then life comes into your thing, and what you do with it or don't do with it is up to you.
yeah.
I love that.
And it's almost, I was thinking it's almost like the wakes or the waves, right? Because we go out, we have reactions, we react to things, but it's those reactions that kind of help us determine what do we need in our sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
And so we do have like this little wake around our personal sanctuary, but sometimes that little wake, things come, they ebb and flow into our personal sanctuary. So it's kind of interesting, something to think about.
Well, it reminds me of the idea of contrast through contrast and clarity.
Mhm.
Like it's like you need to see what doesn't work so you can know what does work, and the only way to do that is to be in the world and to invite things into your life to be like, oh, I like that. No, I don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's a good point. That's a good point. Here in New York, it's like 76 and beautiful and breezy, and we're coming back to life here. I think yesterday was the first day where different times got to change with the curfew, with the outdoor dining and stuff like
Oh,
that.
cool.
May 19th, I think everything's going to basically be opened up, basically. So you could definitely feel the energy. It's definitely much more New York City again, which I love. And It's good. I mean, it's really good. And then you see people walking around without masks, and it's still, and you're like, first you're like, what? And then you're like, oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay outside, you know? And so that's a really good thing. Tomorrow is my 2-week anniversary of my second vaccine. So, you know, it feels good. It feels good to be, you know, seeing people out and doing their thing, and lots more activity, which is really good. I love that. I love that. One of the reasons to be in the city, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's going really, really well. Hello, everybody that's coming in. Hello, Miranda. Hello, Mel. Oh, Miranda, you were in the hospital, but you're back. Good. I'm glad that you're out. Good for you. Glad you're here. It's spring and summer. Is there hope again in New York? Hello, Michael. There is always hope in New York.
Of course, there's hope.
We never lost it. We never lost it, Michael.
There's hope everywhere.
It's everywhere, for sure. For sure. Hello, Sonia. Good to see you from Ireland. So everything is going good here. Basically, we've been doing the Money May class, and that's going really well. People are really doing the work, and the chant that we do is really creating a lot of different things. What can I say? Oh, I'm starting an improv class in June. I'm really excited about that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's perfect for you. That's awesome. Very cool.
For sure. So I'm really excited about doing that for sure. My sister's coming to visit for a few days, and yeah, lots of changes, but good ones. So it's good. All right. Hello, Shelly. Hello, Dawn. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. So we were talking about what we're to talk about today, and this subject came up before we came on today because Polly, you were saying you had a dream about me.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have dreams unless they have me. You know, unless there's something significant about them. I don't remember my dreams. Don't whatever. But the last few days, I've been having, even the last few weeks. And I did have another dream about you. Like that one time I had a dream about that you were running, and then you said you were running. But what it was kind of interesting because it was like, I keep having these dreams about where it's like, it's kind of like, even last night I did with somebody else. So it's kind of like the energy, like I see people and I see their, like the waves of energy or the energy fields around them. Mm-hmm. And so for you, when I saw yours, it was kind of like you figuring out like where you want to be and how you're fitting, but it was like the past, present, or future. I mean, you could almost look at it of like a comparison. It was like a blending of all times, which is interesting because we're talking about time, but we could say like a blending of all times, like this energetic, you know, like if you could say like the layer, like the imprint of, say we do an event together, take the imprint of that and you just layer it all together. And it was like, how do you fit into that now? What are you pulling from right now? Which was interesting.
Well, it makes complete sense. I'm not going to get into it in detail, but the acting has a lot to do with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because it's so funny. I mean, I saw it like, so, I mean, when I have those dreams, there's something relevant to them.
It is.
So,
for sure.
I mean, there's like always a little message. Anyhow.
I could talk to you all day about why that's incredibly significant and why Polly's so freaking good, because she picks up things. And so this thing about the past, the present, and the future all being energetic vibrations and layering on top of each other, like you said, it reminded me of one of my favorite topics is time and timelessness and eternity and what is time, because I think that's one of the most powerful things that we can actually really contemplate and understand, that there is no time, and even go beyond understanding there's no time. There's know that there is no time. And I think that that's a great subject to kind of talk about, because most of the time in our life, we are waiting for something to happen, or we're reacting to something that has happened. And if there's no time, then why are you doing that? Why don't you just have it right now? This is really, really, really important because what we do is we tend to, and when you start to break this code, you start to feel it. I know, Paula, you understand this. You start to break this code about the time illusion, then you really get that you literally, this is when you can have anything you want in this moment, no matter what it is. You can have or be or do anything. If we can unscrew that, what I want to say, this connection to linear time. I know it's pretty deep, but what do you think about what I just said?
Oh, it's super. I mean, it's very deep. I think something that's interesting, like the way I view it, is, like you said, like everything's possible right now, and I guess part of it is like, where do we put our attention? Because we have all these. I'll even say life forms, right? Like you and I have shared, been in many experiences, many different life forms and non-forms, right? Mm-hmm. But so all of that is happening right now. But it's almost like, the way they're showing it to me right now is like, you can imagine like a blanket, right? This blanket, and it just, goes like this. And so it's like that ability, that blanket just continues to expand. So even though there's no time, the possibilities continue to multiply and expand, right? And so that's that concept to me is a little tricky because we have no time, but there is this continual expansion, right? Which I think is very interesting to touch on, right? Because that's almost oxymoron.
Right. It's like a paradox. It's like there is no time, but everything's expanding. So how is that true? But both things can be true. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And that's where you start to get into the real juice of it all. Because we start to move beyond duality, beyond that it has to be like this or it has to be like this, which comes back to past, present, and future. And so there is no delineation. It's like this. I just thought of this. It's like saying that there really is an Arizona because somebody drew a line in the map. There is no Arizona because there's not really a line on the map. Somebody drew a line in the map that says Arizona. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So it's like, but there's only one landmass here, and what's not even a United States because we called it a United States. So it goes into that, and time is very much like that, very much like that. And I remember when I was a kid reading, oh my God, I'm going to grab it right now. I have it right here. Hold on. Reading this book when I was a kid. It was one of the first books I ever read. Seth Speaks. Mm-hmm. And it's intense. And if anyone's read Seth, and in this book, I mean, she really talks about, Seth, the channeled entity, talks all about how everything's happening at the same time. But time, like, of course, Miracles would say time is a teaching tool. So time helps us to learn. So there is a time in perception, but there isn't really a time. What do you think about that?
I think it's a broad concept. I think, and I totally, I agree with this timelessness. I think that, for many people to look at it, including myself, right? Because look at, I have a life where I'm driving my kid around, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But to use it as a tool, as a possibility, or how to bring in more of that living in the flow, right? To use that ability as a tool. And so for me, it's almost like having the awareness of timelessness, having the awareness of our ability to remember where we put our attention, to remember that there's nothing like as much as I think that it's important that I go down the street and get whatever it is that I need to, good Lord, or honk my horn.
Welcome to New York.
Just as important happening in a different framework, right? There's something just as important. And so recognizing that it's all equal. It's all where we put our attention.
It is. It's all where we put our attention. There's no doubt about that. I agree. This is why, sorry, everyone here will know this, and of course you will know this, is that there's some people that are in their 80s And you would think that they're 40s in their 40s because they don't put their attention on, oh my God, I got 20 more years or whatever. They're just living in the moment. They're just there. They seem very young at heart, right? And then there's other people that are in their 40s that even look and feel like they're in their 80s because they're constantly, putting their attention on, lack of a better term, negative things. So they're living much more in time than the person's like, I'm just living my life,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're just living. You know what so I was thinking this last night. On those old fashioned scales that have like the thing that you slide up and down I'm talking about, that bar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is what I was thinking about. If we say I take a piece of paper and I write my name down on it, draw a circle around it, and I put in all the things that I need to feel like, I don't want to use the word I need, but all the things I love in my life that make me feel complete, that make me feel connected to source, it's in my vortex, it's like all the good stuff in my life. Mm-hmm. Write it down. And then imagine, because each of us can do this, and then imagine that you slide your bubble with all your good stuff on the scale, and when it gets to a certain point, it starts moving not so easily. What's come into it?
Yeah.
Right. And I love the idea of people doing that, because it reminds you of your personal power to keep what you want, what you need to feel your best. And it's your personal choice what you do, what you invite in.
That's right. That's so true. It's so true. I love that concept of the old time way thing. You just bring it over here.
Yeah, you just bring it over. And it's like, when it starts slowing down because it's got so much stuff that's not good for you, you're like, okay, I need to make a change.
Yeah, I need to move something else over there. It's so interesting. I do this work called, I don't think you and I have ever really talked about it. You will know what it is basically when I talk about it, but there's this vibrational essence work that I teach my students. This is really powerful. And this is kind of what you're just talking about. But the whole, the underlying theory about vibrational essence work is that everything is a matching vibration. You know that. So if you're struggling, you bring matching, you're whatever. So the vibrational essence work is something where you're going to get what I'm talking about, where you just go, okay, I'm going to put myself in, because every kind of vibrational frequency is different. Satisfaction has a very specific vibrational frequency, and joy has a different one, sorrow has a different one, pain has a different one, grief, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course.
So you find the vibrational one of the most powerful ones is satisfaction, because you know what, when everything's working out, you have a satisfied vibration. You're just like, everything's working out. You're like, you know what I'm talking about?
Open heart.
Go ahead.
Open heart.
So if you're in a place, this is why you cannot try to get something in the future if you don't have a vibrational match to it now. So if that thing in the future is a joyful thing, you have to find joy in this moment, right now, because it's always going to be further away from you. And then because all we're doing is we're just attracting it all to us. So that's why you can skip time to not wait to be joyful now, find that thing. It's a little bit more than what I'm talking about, but you find that thing, and it's different for everyone. And when you find that vibrational frequency, say it's joy, you go, oh, I got it. This is joy. You sit there for a little while, you really feel it, you really be with it. And so even if 2 seconds ago you were in grief, you can create joy in this moment. And then, so that proves that there's really no time, and then everything can start to change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to recognize that it's possible to create a life where, the majority of your life is good. The majority of your life is satisfying. The majority of your life is, satisfying is that thing of just being like, this is good. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not a desire for more, or it's not a fear of lack. But I think it's important to recognize that, sometimes, I mean, and I know it's baby steps. Like people think, okay, they have to, do this exercise and, bring yourself, find that joy, that bring yourself to joy and experience it for a moment or whatever. But it really is possible for you to experience these really good things much great, like your life can be this.
Yeah, for sure.
You just need to be mindful about
Where your attention is, what you just said.
yes, absolutely.
Right. And that proves about this whole thing about timelessness, because ultimately in time, you might be going through hell in time, but in reality, you can be in a very higher vibration place.
Yeah.
It's like, did you ever read that classic book? I just reread it a couple months ago, which I love. Man's Search for Meaning, the Viktor Frankl book.
No, I remember last time you read it. That's so funny.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
We were doing something then. I'm like, no, still haven't read it.
It's so good. And this is all what it's all about. It's this guy in Auschwitz, in a concentration camp. Yes. And what he does with his mind and how he deals with it. Because a lot of people weren't able to survive it. He was, and it's a lot to do with what we're talking about.
It is. Well, I mean, look at Max. I don't want to, I mean, this is like pretty harsh, but how many people out there do we think are just surviving this life?
A lot.
Right? And so, I mean, and that's a very harsh statement to say, but it's true. Right? That their perception is they are surviving life. And, thrive or not thrive, whatever, all of that, that's overused. But how about just feeling good in life, just being connected, feeling supported, right? And
for sure.
I think that that's the most, like if you only get one message from the show today, is to recognize that it's in your power to decide what you want in your life. It's in your power to decide, where am I allowing my thoughts to go? It's in my power to recognize that, I actually can have uncomplicated love in my life. I actually can have uncomplicated relationships in my life. I actually can have uncomplicated good health in my life, right? Because lots of times we tie things together. We think that, love is always burdened with, some type of loss or whatever. We tie these things together in our thoughts. And maybe today the lesson is, the simplification.
Yeah.
Just one thought at a time.
That's right. And I love that you just said that, because the one thought at a time comes back to being in the present moment, because that's the only moment there is. You just stay right here. Just stay right here. And that's so incredibly powerful. I agree. Interested if there's anyone that's watching. Thanks for everyone that's watching live. What you have to say about it. Some people have already said a couple of things here. Read what Dawn said. Can you
remember to make your goals unlimited. Size of your goals have no relevance to the results. Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing he said before, too, he says, I wrote down on a card a goal of mine and the person I wanted to meet. I met a wonderful person the same day I wrote it down. Goosebumps ran down my back when she messaged me. Her and I are so in tune with each other. I love it. Then when you decided in this moment.
Yeah.
This moment. I was saying on I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday on my motivation show, I was saying you don't have to do anything, but you can choose to feel good. And that's the most important thing, like coming back to what you're talking about. But you can't pretend to feel good. You have to really feel good. You can't be like, I'm going to feel, you got to really find a way to feel good right in this moment on some level. You got to find a way. And when you do that, then you get out of the trap of time. Like someday I'm going to feel good. And when this happens, I'll feel good. And when that happens, no, now. For sure.
And it's okay, right? I mean, look at life poses potential challenges. It's okay. Say you're having a challenge, right? It's okay to be like, to have to dig a little bit to find what's working, to have to dig a little bit to be like, this is good. That's okay. Because we're being real in terms of things pop up in life that we have to find a place for.
Well, we're just talking about the contrast and the clarity.
Yeah.
The things in life are going to bring you things, and it's not that for sure. Polly and I are not like advocating don't feel bad or feel grief or feel, but it's going to guide you to something else that you can have a choice for sure.
And it's almost like, when you make peace with it, when you make peace with your grief or make peace with your frustration, that is the letting go. Yeah. So you have it, you make peace with it, you understand. And, I don't know if it's a point of forgiveness, but it's a point of acceptance. It's a point of, yes, I hear that, right? I hear that because part of you was still wanting to hear that loss. Part of you was still wanting to share that emotional grief. And yeah. And if you sit there and you're like, I get it, I hear it. Yeah. There's a sweetness in that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think forgiveness does have a lot to do with that. And then because forgiveness allows you to let go of the thought that it should have been different. You can really absorb it and learn from it and grow from it. Like Andrea says, reminding yourself that setbacks are an opportunity. Instead, it's not just a setback. And, you start to, change what we always say, change the meaning around it. And you start to go, oh, this is exactly what I needed, or this was a good thing on some level. And then you transcend it. So
here's a question for people. How would it feel like when you're going through something that's tough, right? Like some type of loss or some type of challenge. How would it feel if, and especially if you feel some sense of isolation, like you don't have a bunch of support, you don't have somebody that you can, reach out to and explore this with. How would it feel for you to, it's almost like you converse with the universe and you're like having a conversation like, okay, why did this happen? This is how I feel. Like really have that conversation with the universe and see what happens, or God or angels or whatever you want to say, but see what happens, like see what unfolds from that conversation with a higher power in terms of, but here's the thing, I have to say, it has to go beyond the thought of, the old thought of, well, God knows what's best for me or whatever, or there's a God's plan. It has to go beyond God's plan. Mm-hmm. Right? You got to dig a little deeper and see what messages you get, because that is really when I think you make peace with it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think you're touching on really listening.
Yeah. To the universe.
Developing the capacity to listen.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, to develop your capacity to listen, to sense, to, as I say, sit down, shut up, just what's really happening here? What are you being guided, or how are you being guided? That's a skill that needs to be developed. And once you get that, then it's very hard not to hear it.
Yeah. And to feel it. So I think, we could say hear/feel, right? Because when you're really there in that moment, you are feeling it. Mm-hmm. And it really is starting to like allow some openings within you, some awareness, some deeper awareness within you. Once you really do allow that connection with different forms of energy, different thoughts, how does it really fit in with your, how does it fit in with the way you view life?
Yeah, I agree totally. Don says something really powerful, and it's so funny. He says, I think that writing something down is a form of accepting it as something that will happen and something you deserve, because you do deserve the best out of life, which I love. But I also think too, it's like I'm in the process of taking my students through the Artist's Way right now, and we do these morning pages. And this is a great way of listening and getting things. When you write freestyle every single day, three pages, you will start to hear, you'll start to feel, you'll start to get it, because you move all your other stuff out of the way too when you write it down. It's very interesting. It's a psychological thing, which is, I think, it's a really powerful thing. What does Dr. Andrea say? Read what Dr. Andrea says there.
Listening to our inner thoughts and processing them to take action. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or not take action.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, honestly, sometimes it's just feeling them.
I agree. Yeah.
And note, I guess it's like the thoughts come in and you're like, noted, but that's right. But
I agree. That's right. You know, one of the things in the Course in Miracles that I think I come back to all the time, and I think it's more powerful than we even know, is that we don't have to do anything.
Correct.
Just be the beingness of it all, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
That's right, for sure. Stacey's getting huge validation. That's great. I love it. It helps you navigate your life better. Well, yeah, for sure. But the whole thing is that, and this, it does come back to the timeless being. I'm going to have to wrap up pretty soon, but is that you can't hear and be guided if you're too focused on the past or the future. It doesn't work.
Right.
You have to be here. And this is there's no time right here.
And just to, here's another thought. What Andrea said about it helps you take action or whatever, and we said, well, sometimes you don't take action, but you can look at it also this way. Most of you guys know I love hiking. So when I'm out hiking and I'm like using my body, there's still a part of me doing nothing. Right? There's still a part of me that is doing nothing, that is just like taking it all in. And just, right, and that's probably why I like it, because there's a big part of me doing nothing. Like I'm kind of on autopilot, just enjoying the hiking and doing nothing.
Yeah, I know exactly. And that is the most profound way to walk through life.
Yeah,
it is. You have that sense, that beingness, that's the beingness part, that you're in touch with that beingness that doesn't have to do anything. Not to do anything. And then when you know what to do, you know what to do.
Yeah.
If you need to take action or not.
It's like that awareness of, it's almost like, I can go out there and almost see like, greater distance, but not even be aware of it. Right. Just like,
I love it.
Yeah. Almost like falling.
Right. We can do that in every single moment of our lives.
Yeah.
For sure. I want to say one thing that I mean to wrap up. Don says, forget the past. You cannot change the past events, so why try? I agree with that completely. And, I mention Course in Miracles all the time, but there's a beautiful quote that I want to say. Course in Miracles says, the past is over. The only real thing that you've taken from the past is the love that you shared there. I love that. And that's true. The love you shared there. Everything else is like an illusion. It's craziness, and just, bring the love with you. And then you just move through. So can't change it. You can heal it. You can revision it. You can look at it differently.
Yes, absolutely.
And you look at it with love. That's right.
And you can send it energy, and yes, for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. Shelly says, that's how I'm at work. Yesterday I was listening to the Bruce Lee Water book. Oh my God, the best. And I was in the zone for hours. Yeah, work and be in the zone. I love that. What a great conversation. I love it.
Yes.
Love it so much. Good. So Polly, let's see. Let me tell people want to know more about me. You can go to attractpositiveresults.com. You can also follow me on Insight Timer, and I'm doing chanting there. We do different Course in Miracles teachings on Wednesday afternoon. So go to Insight Timer, look me up, and follow me there, because a lot of cool things are happening there. So I'm not just live here; I'm live over there too. So. That's it for me. What about you, Polly?
Awesome. So you can find out more about me on my website, pollywyram.com. And my blogs are on soulspring.org and sometimes your Tango. And I'm talking today in just a few minutes about my next retreat. So I'll have a retreat in the fall. So one every fall and one every spring.
Oh, you're talking about that. Where are you talking about that?
Because I might do my fall one in like a nice resort in Scottsdale area.
Oh, I thought you meant you're going to be live somewhere.
No, this is like another
about
one where people have to fly into Arizona. So I think I'll keep my spring one in Sedona, and then I'll do my fall one where, so people actually have to fly in and stay. So
That's
I'm just
awesome.
starting to work on my fall one.
Very cool. I love it, love it, love it. Very cool. All right, everyone. Well, Polly, have an incredible rest of your Arizona day.
Yes, you too, and we shall be in touch.
Okay, for sure. Love you, everybody. Have a wonderful